Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So, Ophiuchus, shall we dip on into this and see two questions that I have? So, Ophiuchus, I want to still take a look at what the kind of like divine timing is bringing in, or what is something that is the right time for Ophiuchus. And then we'll also take a look at who's coming toward Ophiuchus. We're going to first kind of look at what the divine timing is bringing in, or what is like the right time right now for something. King of Swords, High Priestess, Three of Swords. Okay, so instantly I feel like it is like, once in a while, like a lightning bolt, something strikes us. We look at somebody, we've paid attention to them for a while, but maybe we never saw what was right in front of our eyes. And all of a sudden it clicks. I feel like Ophiuchus is either enough time has passed or they've been around, possibly a King of Swords who may hide it well. But I feel like Ophiuchus is suddenly understanding. This could be like their father figure. And it's like, oh my God, my whole life I never saw them. I never saw their wounds before. And now I see them as this person who has had deep wounds, and maybe that shaped them, turned them into the man that I knew, or the woman that I knew, or, regardless of gender. This here in the middle says Ophiuchus is spotting somebody, and they're seeing what was in plain sight all this time, but like Ophiuchus had to feel it on them. This could be a boss, and we suddenly understand our boss a lot better. This could be a lover, and we suddenly realize, oh my gosh, I can see a wounded version of them, maybe a teenager version of them, maybe a child's version of them, even though they're a full grown adult. And it's like we see them and we go, oh my gosh, I see where your hurt has been. I can see that in you now. That is an amazing thing to be able to, really see someone, see what they've been through, see their hurt, see their pain, and actually understand it. Um, for Ophiuchus to be able to look at somebody and genuinely like sense it and feel it and put their finger on, oh my God, you're standing here and you're brave and you're strong, or maybe you're even like kind of severe and kind of fierce, but I now understand where that part of you comes from. It comes from a wound inside of you. This person comes across as a King of Swords upright. It should be a wonderful person, though. This wouldn't be typically someone where Ophiuchus would be looking at them saying, "Oh wow, you're a monster." And, oh, I get it. You're a wounded individual. They always say like scratch a cynic, and what you'll find underneath is like a tarnished, idealist. I think that was George Carlin who said that. I don't think I'm directly quoting it perfectly, but I would say I don't think that applies here. I think if anything, Ophiuchus has observed someone, and they may be very like they strive for excellence and accuracy in their words, and they may fight really hard for things. They could have dedicated their lives to like humanitarian efforts, or this could be somebody who's kind of looks like he's in like a barrister's robes. So maybe somebody went into legalities and the study of law in order to fight for justice or something. And it's like, I understand why. It's because you had huge wounds. So I would just say that right now in this timing, guys, great to see everyone. It's like, I think Ophiuchus can see what makes this King of Swords tick. Like I said, maybe it's their father and they understand their father a lot better. Maybe it's a lover. Maybe it's a boss. It's somebody that Ophiuchus is like, I just saw the real you. I saw your motive. The reason you are this King of Swords, what drives you is actually tremendous pain. And I think it's very sweet and very sensitive. I don't think that this is a monster at all. I think this is somebody Ophiuchus cares deeply for, and maybe even like loves this person more so because they see something real in them. All right, let me go ahead and shift gears now, and let's take a look at who is coming toward Ophiuchus now. And I say that because obviously we're in London right now, and we have the telephone, we got Big Ben, the watch or clock tower, and then we've got the bus. Sorry, I always point in the wrong directions. But that's why I want to take a look at all of those components as we have this week. All right, so who is coming toward Ophiuchus? Let's take a look. We have got a 4 of coins. We have got a 9 of swords. Somebody who is really freaking nervous. They have had a lot of stress over Ophiuchus. They have had a lot of concerns. They have been holding back. They could be masculine or a feminine. But I feel like they've had sleepless nights. I feel like they've felt like they're on tippy toes or walking on eggshells. This is somebody who hasn't talked to Ophiuchus in a long time. Um, that's how it comes across anyway. Nurturer of coins, sideways. Now we have a masculine on a queen's card. Normally this would be the Queen of Pentacles. This is somebody who wants to both give and receive. This is somebody who maybe doesn't know if it's a good idea for them to reach out to Ophiuchus now or not. It's like they want so much to, but we can see that there's a powerful pull. Like they want to give to Ophiuchus, but God, they also want Ophiuchus to give to them. But they don't really know if this is even a good idea. It seems. We have the Lovers. I feel like they either did once upon a time have very wonderful intimate moments with Ophiuchus where they felt like Ophiuchus is a very rare, individualized snowflake, and they are the same. No two snowflakes are the same crystalline structure, right? And I just feel like in their mind, Ophiuchus is so rare, and maybe they felt like they finally met somebody that understood them. Maybe they always felt a little out of place, but something has clearly happened. The fact that they're this nervous to approach, I mean, maybe they haven't ever gotten to the point of being a lover to Ophiuchus. Maybe that's where all this nervousness is coming from, because it's what they're hoping for. My impression was, because what I saw when I looked at that Lovers card, I didn't see the dragonflies. I saw two people like face to face, like close talking, and ready to kiss. We have the Eight of Wands in the reverse. This says, no, I have not done any close talking and close kissing with Ophiuchus. Okay, so you have not gravitated toward Ophiuchus. So that's where all the nervousness is coming from. This is somebody who wants Ophiuchus, and they wish they knew if Ophiuchus wanted them too. Okay, so it's like, give me a sign, let me know. We got a Six of Swords upright. Part of them is like, maybe I should just move on and just forget this. Like they're on the fence between never saying anything or trying to approach Ophiuchus. Tell me more about who they are. What's their background? Here's the thing. We already know they're going to approach, because that's what the title of this storyline is. Who's approaching Ophiuchus? We have a painter. So they perhaps, and this is very much tip of the hat to like Van Gogh art. And Van Gogh obviously, had his struggles. Amazing artist. But his life story was quite, there were a lot of extremes in his life story if you read up on him. We have the Dancer. So we keep seeing somebody who's very sensitive, graceful, talented, artistic. That could maybe explain why he's like, Ophiuchus is such a rare find, and I feel like Ophiuchus and I, like, we would really understand each other. This is probably why they have such like a sensitive nature when it comes to love, and they keep asking themselves, should I do this? Even here, they're in like this deep dancer's plie. But here's the thing, that's a really hard posture to hold. You've got to be a dancer, you got to be flexible, you got to be strong, you got to be super fit, you got to have good endurance. So this character is not like some, whatever wet mop. They're not some weakling, right? They're super strong, and they're super talented, and they're very artistic, and they bring a lot to the world. But I feel like very much a misunderstood kind of a character is what it feels like. Yeah, the ascetic. So this is also somebody who's very spiritual, and they may live a life of kind of extremes, lots of purification and self-discipline, and like a spiritual practice that could go too far toward like austerity even. That has me humming for a reason, because that seems a bit extreme. And I do think that this person has like maybe created more tension in their own life than what they need to have by almost like self-flagellation or, self-punishment, like, oh, I'm artistic, I'm this, I'm that. But then at the same time, they overthink things a little bit, or they, consider themselves like unworthy in some ways, because we see them doing this even though they want to move toward Ophiuchus. And again, Four of Pentacles. As much as they really want to move toward Ophiuchus, they still find themselves holding back, plunking down. Okay, but all of this still said that they are actually gravitating toward Ophiuchus. They just seem to fight it every step of the way. Two of Pentacles. They hem and haw. Maybe I will. No, I shouldn't. Not today. No. It feels like this is somebody who would be better if they just made a decision and went with it. Because here's the thing, they're fighting what they actually want. They're fighting what they actually know. The Gemini energy, of course, is the twins. So maybe this person has like, their artistic side, and then they also have like their, very reasonable side, or they have their, I think anybody that's very artistic can go on, like when you get a streak of creativity. I'm not saying I'm any great artist or anything like that. Believe me, I'm not. But I did do a lot of painting at one point in my life. And, sometimes I would paint all night. My favorite thing, I was not exactly a rebellious teen. I was done with school in 8th grade, never went back, and got done with high school in 2 years on my own, and went into the workforce. So my life was a little bit different. But in those 2 years of quote unquote high school, on Saturday nights, I'd stay up all night long painting and listen to the blues show on NPR. So I just loved blues music and painting. And that was like my rebellious phase. I was very, very not rebellious, I think. But it suited me. I wanted to do things that I cared about, and then I wanted to get into the workforce. And so like, everybody takes their different path in life, right? But I feel like when you get that creative spark, sometimes you do stay up all night. Sometimes you do. It can be a little bit extreme because you got that creative flow and you're like, you don't even know that you're tired because you're painting all night and you got the right music on, man, it keeps you flowing, So I'm just saying that anybody who's ever been like drawn to anything artistic, when that energetic flow, you're just loving what you're doing. I think it's easy to get caught up in that. Easier to get caught up in things like that sometimes than like, maybe pursuing love, because that requires like more courage. Whereas they'd probably be a very dedicated partner to Ophiuchus, but they're also someone who is possibly really scared to start that. But they're good at being dedicated to other things, artistic pursuits, things like that. But I still feel like this person really, really feels drawn toward Ophiuchus. Why do you have all this passion for Ophiuchus? Let me ask that. 6 of Wands. They really admire Ophiuchus. They think Ophiuchus is so talented. They think Ophiuchus is just like with the 6 of Wands, it's like they have either seen something that Ophiuchus has accomplished. They think Ophiuchus is absolutely magnificent, and possibly look at Ophiuchus as a leader in their field, somebody very unique, somebody very independent, somebody that nobody else comes close. I don't know if Ophiuchus sees themselves this way, but this person certainly does. Ace of Pentacles. For them, Ophiuchus is like this shining star. Ophiuchus represents a new beginning, represents like a different like almost like a hope for a future, like their own future would be different also if they were with somebody as amazing as Ophiuchus. I mean, they've definitely put Ophiuchus on a pedestal, but not in a terrible way. This actually looks like in a really sweet way, a really admirable way. So what kind of a life do you want to have with Ophiuchus then? Because we know that you look at them as a lover. We know that you're hem and hawing about coming toward them. When I say what kind of a life do you want to have with Ophiuchus, we have the 8 of Swords, and it's kind of like, oh, I don't want to answer that. Okay, so once again, we see them running away from those answers. We have the Karma card, which is a Judgment card in the reverse. I can't make a decision like that. So this person does keep throwing their power away a little bit or being overly humble. Maybe they're too dazzled by Ophiuchus. Maybe that's one of the biggest problems here, is that they're so enamored with Ophiuchus and they keep making it so they're like, I mean, it's not up to me. Ophiuchus would have to decide if they want anything to do with me. But if they keep being this enamored and dazzled, they're never going to approach Ophiuchus and they could throw this chance away. Hanged Man, they're like, I know. So I keep thinking about it. I keep thinking about it, but they just haven't made their move yet. So let me cut to the chase here and just say, are you going to be? Are you going to be, moving forward? Empress Unicorn 111. My eyes just caught your sentence, and I'm like, I'm hearing the woo, yeah, part of that song. It takes two to make a thing go right. It takes two to make it out of sight. Oh my God. I'm rocking out in my, what was that, early 90s, late 80s. We've got that 9 of Cups here. We've got the 9 of Wands, and we have the World. Okay, so yes, they will, even if they have to put on armor to do it, they will absolutely, maybe not until the beginning of next year, though. I will say that with the World being here, they may not be able to push themselves through the portal and go talk to Ophiuchus right now. This says maybe they're going to need some liquid courage. Maybe they're going to wait to, what I just flashed on in my mind is like maybe around Christmas or the New Year, like New Year's Eve party type of thing. That's when it'll be like, okay, it's celebration energy. This is like they're in a pub or a bar or something. And it's like, okay, it feels like this is appropriate. I'm allowed to, maybe confess after a couple of drinkies that I have been meaning to tell you for a long time, Ophiuchus. I've been too nervous to approach you. I feel like this person, the first time they actually tell Ophiuchus how they feel, I think they're also going to confess to the fact that, I've been really, I didn't have the confidence to say any of this. I think it's not just going to be them, putting their heart out there. I think it's also them revealing something about themselves, about how hard this is for them to, like, maybe they've even never done this before. Maybe them speaking up and approaching Ophiuchus is something that they've never done. This is a big step for them. Even though this person is like, they hem and they haw and they get a little too worried about stuff all the time, you can't help but really like them and how much they really like Ophiuchus and like empathize with how stressful it is to like overcome that shyness, especially when you're dazzled by somebody. I hope that this is either somebody that Ophiuchus is also going to be interested in, or at least that there is some nice rapport between the two of them. I mean, for their sake, but also for Ophiuchus' sake, because so far this person adores Ophiuchus and has just been dazzled and tongue-tied. Let me just take one quick peek at Ophiuchus and all this. Knight of Coins sideways is like, it's like scrubbing turtles. I mean, they're the slowest moving I've ever seen. But you know what? Maybe this suits Ophiuchus. Look at how all the dominoes been set. Ophiuchus could be a fairly particular person where they themselves like to, organize, strategize, lay things out. Maybe this has been just fine for Ophiuchus. We never got any like tension or like, oh, come on, would you hurry it up kind of attitude off of this. This person kind of was endearing the whole time, even though they're master procrastinators and kind of nervous. But this card being sideways says, maybe it's just fine and it's just exactly the right divine timing. Maybe Ophiuchus is like, I've still got some stuff to work on. Sounds great that they might not try saying anything loving to me until the beginning of next year, end of this one, because honestly, I still have some other stuff I'm working on. You know what? There is no rush on this. This is just right. It might suit Ophiuchus just fine. Yes, they move like a turtle, but that's okay because I do things in kind of a particular way myself. You know what? I love it then. I love it because it's just right. Nobody else gets to say what pace any two people are supposed to, talk to each other at or start a relationship. Why can't they just take their time? So I know it's nice to see this, this nice tempo after all. You guys, thank you so much for being here. I love all the music conversations. You guys know that just tickles me pink. Oh gosh, yes, the Bodyguard soundtrack is the best-selling CD of all time. You know, I did not know that. Seriously, sweet, I had no idea. And Whitney's undeniably incredible, but that's so awesome. I did not know that. Hi, V. Hey, sweet. Thanks again, honey. And Empress Unicorn 111. Samira, hi. Oh, yeah, Thriller, the best record album of all time. Absolutely. Well, I would say that for me, there's definitely records that like tie for best ever. I probably have at least 50 records that I would say are best ever that all like in my mind, you know, across all genres are so equal. MJ is definitely in the list though, for sure. I don't know if I would say Thriller though for me. I liked his later stuff. I liked his earlier stuff. So I don't know. There's Dirty Diana. Oh my gosh, that song. That song drives me wild. Love it so much. Hi, Jem. Thank you, sweet. Thank you for putting the quote in properly, George Carlin's quote. Thank you so much. Bruce Reed, so good to see you. Happy full blood corn moon night. Oh my gosh. I felt like Smooth Criminal was like groundbreaking. That video, his dance moves. I know his moves in Billie Jean were like unbelievable with the moonwalking, but Smooth Criminal, wow. I like probably watched that 3,000 times. Yeah, I wasn't much of a rebel, was I? Blues music. That was my big rebellion and staying up all night on a Saturday night to paint. I was pretty a fairly dull child, I think. Creepy but beautiful. So nice to see you. Hey, G. Oh, I love music so much. Wild one. Hi. The kittens are, they don't even look like kittens anymore. I cannot believe the kittens are growing. And I know kittens do grow, but the only one who still looks itty bitty to me is Cleo. Cleo is a very petite little lady. And the other two are these big hulking brothers now. So Fezzik is massive and they don't even look like teenagers. Indy looks like a full-blown luscious cat. Fezzik is just a little bit lanky still, so maybe like the little tiny bit of being a teenage cat. But Cleo looks very small by comparison and still with those enormous eyes. She's beautiful. And the boys are just like the most plush, most well-fed little dudes. And oh my God, they are like, they adore everybody. They're the most gushy. I got to hold them like, what was it, maybe 4 days ago? And you know, they lay on their backs, just completely gush in your hands. The brothers are the same as Cleo. In fact, I would say Cleo is more like active, and the brothers are like these giant mushy things in your hands. They're so like loving and trusting. It's very nice. I'll get some little video or clips of them next time I get to hold them. They're hilarious. uh, yeah, they've got quite the personalities too, and they're all so distinctly different. You guys, thanks again. Great to see you tonight. All right, it is pretty much time that we do a today's topic. So I will go live and we'll do that one next. Lots of love if this is where we part ways. Otherwise, I'll see you guys if you're up late or starting your day. I'll see you for the today's topic video next. All right. Bye for right now, guys.